Before we begin, this series contains mature themes including infidelity, family betrayal, and emotional confrontation. Viewer discretion is advised. Disclaimer: this is a fictional narrative for educational and entertainment purposes. All legal strategies should be discussed with licensed attorneys in your jurisdiction. If you're experiencing similar situations, please seek professional support.
I stood in my kitchen and played back the recording I'd just captured. Dylan's voice filled the room. What if we just forge her signature on a quitclaim deed? Transfer the property to me, then to both of us. By the time anyone realizes, we'll have already sold it. Bethany's response was even worse. That's fraud. Dylan, so is adultery. We're already in this deep. Might as well go all the way. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning to steal my house through forgery, to commit multiple felonies, to destroy me completely. But what they didn't know is that I'd set a trap. And they'd just walked right into it. This is the story of how I caught them planning their own destruction and discovered a secret that made everything even more complicated. 1 week ago, I discovered my husband Dylan in bed with my sister Bethany. They'd been having an affair for almost a year, 47 Thursday nights at the Harborview Grand. My best friend Olivia helped me find evidence, hotel receipts, Instagram posts, financial records showing Dylan spent our money on Bethany while giving me scraps. Then I discovered my father's protection, an irrevocable trust that made Willow House solely mine, and a post-nuptial agreement with an adultery clause that strips Dylan of everything. My grandmother Elodie revealed that Bethany stole $8,000 from the family business 10 years ago and tried to blame me. My father made her pay it back, but never trusted her again. That's why he cut her from the inheritance entirely. I also learned Bethany's boutique sits on my property. She owes me $43,000 in unpaid rent. Now let me tell you how I caught them planning something even worse. 2 days after finding the ring in Dylan's garage, I did something that felt both calculated and necessary. I told Dylan I'd be out of town for the day. A work trip to Portland. Wouldn't be back until evening. Dylan and I had been living like hostel roommates for a week now. He stayed in the guest room. We barely spoke. The house felt like a war zone with an uneasy ceasefire. But I'd been watching him, noticing patterns. He'd been spending time in my father's study when he thought I was sleeping, going through drawers, looking for something. The trust documents. He was still trying to find a way to challenge them. So I gave him an opportunity. I have to meet a potential client in Portland, I said that morning over coffee. Big contract. I'll probably be gone all day. Dylan's eyes flickered with something. Relief? Calculation? Good luck, he said smoothly. I hope it goes well. Thanks, I said. I'll text you when I'm on my way back. Then I left. But I didn't go to Portland. I parked my car 3 blocks away and walked back to Willow House through the neighbor's yard. Before I left that morning, I'd set up my recording system carefully. My old phone, the one I'd replaced last year but kept, went into the living room, hidden on the bookshelf behind my father's photo frame. Camera angled toward the study door. Voice recorder activated. My current phone, I positioned on the front porch in the hanging planter near the door, high enough to capture their entrance, concealed by trailing ivy. Also recording. If they came, I'd have audio and video from multiple angles. If they didn't, I'd only wasted a morning. Then I positioned myself in my car 3 blocks away, waiting. I'd brought a book, coffee, my tablet with work I could pretend to do. But mostly, I just watched the clock. 10:47 a.m. Nothing. 11:17 a.m. Nothing. 11:47 a.m., exactly 1 week after I'd discovered them in bed together, Dylan's car pulled into the driveway. But he wasn't alone. Bethany was in the passenger seat. My stomach clenched. They were getting bolder. More comfortable. They sat in the car for a few minutes, talking. I couldn't hear them from where I was parked, but I could see Bethany gesturing animatedly, Dylan shaking his head, both of them clearly arguing about something. Finally, they got out. Dylan used his key, the one I deliberately not asked him to return, and they went inside my house. I waited 5 minutes, watching the house for movement. Then I crept back through the neighbor's yard, staying low behind the hedge line. The study window was open. Dylan always complained about the stuffiness. I could hear their voices. My phones were recording. But I needed to know what they were saying. Needed to hear the tone, the casual cruelty, the planning. I needed to know if this was worth what I was about to do. So I stayed there, hidden in the rhododendrons below the window, and I listened. Can't find them anywhere, Dylan was saying, his voice frustrated. She must have moved them. Or locked them up somewhere. Check the safe again, Bethany urged. The combination is probably something obvious. Her birthday. Your anniversary. The sound of the safe dial clicking. My father's old safe, which I'd changed the combination to the day I found the trust documents. It's not working, Dylan said. Try her dad's birthday. More clicking. Then a curse. Forget the safe, Bethany said, her voice sharp with impatience. We don't need the original documents. My lawyer says we can challenge the trust based on undue influence. Your testimony that she was controlling, that she manipulated her father when he was sick. That's not going to work, Dylan interrupted. Her grandmother has copies. Her attorney has copies. We need a different strategy. My heart was pounding so hard I was afraid they'd hear it through the window. A pause. Then Bethany's voice, quieter but more dangerous. What if we just forge her signature on a quitclaim deed? Transfer the property to you, then you transfer it to both of us. By the time anyone realizes, we'll have already sold it. My blood turned to ice. That's fraud, Dylan said. But his voice wasn't shocked. It was considering. Weighing options. So is adultery, Bethany shot back. We're already in this deep. Might as well go all the way. Silence. I held my breath, pressing myself against the house, hidden by the overgrown rhododendrons. I'll talk to someone, Dylan said finally. See if it's even possible. It's possible, Bethany said confidently. I know a notary who'll backdate documents for the right price. We just need a sample of her signature. There are dozens in that desk. They were planning to forge my signature. To steal my house through fraud. To commit multiple felonies. And they were doing it in my father's study, surrounded by his books and his memory, like it was just another business transaction. But then Bethany said something that made everything else fade into background noise. Once we have the house money, I can finally pay off Leo. Get him out of the picture before he figures out the timeline. Leo? Who is Leo? How much does he think you owe him? Dylan asked. $12,000. I told him I borrowed it for the boutique. He has no idea about the rent situation. My mind was racing. Bethany had borrowed $12,000 from someone named Leo? For what? And he still doesn't know about us? Dylan asked. No. Bethany's voice was strained. He thinks the baby is his. The world stopped. The baby. My sister was pregnant. I pressed my hand over my mouth to keep from making a sound. When are you going to tell him? Dylan asked. I'm not, Bethany said flatly. I'm going to let him think it's his, let him pay for everything, and then when the paternity test proves otherwise, I'll act shocked. By then we'll have the house money and we can disappear. That's cold, Dylan said. But he didn't sound disapproving. He sounded impressed. That's survival, Bethany corrected. Leo's a nice guy, but he's broke. He's a musician, for God's sake. He plays at the Meridian 3 nights a week. He can barely pay his own rent. I need someone with actual resources. Like me, Dylan said. Like you, Bethany agreed. Once we're free of Amber and her Trust Fund Princess Act, we can actually build something real. Something that's ours. I stood frozen behind the hedge, barely breathing. My sister was pregnant with my husband's baby. She was letting another man, some musician named Leo, believe it was his. She was planning to defraud him, forge my signature, and steal my house. And Dylan was going along with all of it. They kept talking. And the more they talked, the worse it got. When did this actually start? Bethany asked. Like, really start? January, Dylan admitted. Remember that weekend Amber went to that conference in Chicago? The marketing summit, Bethany said. I came over to help you with the leak in the basement. There was no leak, Dylan said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. I made that up. Bethany laughed. I know. I knew then. January. The affair had started in January. Almost a full year ago. I remembered that Chicago trip. I'd been excited about the conference. About networking. About growing my business. I'd called Dylan every night. told him I missed him, told him I loved him. And the whole time, Bethany had been there. In my house. In my bed. Does Leo know about any of this? Dylan asked. God, no. He thinks I'm single. Well, he thought I was single. Now he thinks we're together. Exclusive. Bethany sighed. He's going to be devastated when he finds out. Do you feel bad? Dylan asked. A pause. Then, no. Should I? I don't know. I don't feel bad about Amber anymore. I did it first. But she's so cold. So focused on work and her perfect little life. You actually see me. You make me feel alive. I wanted to vomit. This was the man I'd built a life with. The man I'd trusted. The man who was now calling me cold while planning to commit fraud against me. I stayed there for another 10 minutes, recording every word, until finally they left, arguing about whether to go back to Bethany's apartment or get lunch first. I waited until Dylan's car disappeared down the street before I moved. My legs were cramping from crouching in the bushes for so long. I stood slowly, my whole body shaking from adrenaline, from rage, from the shock of what I'd just heard. I retrieved both phones. The porch phone had captured their entrance perfectly, Dylan using his key, both of them entering my house without permission. The living room phone had captured audio of their entire conversation in the study. I sat in my car and played portions back, making sure I'd captured everything clearly. Dylan's voice, what if we just forge her signature on a quitclaim deed? Bethany's voice, I know a notary who'll backdate documents for the right price. Dylan's voice, she's too weak to fight. Too concerned about what people think. Bethany's voice, he thinks the baby is his. Every word. Every admission. Every conspiracy. Crystal clear. Legally obtained. Devastating. I forwarded the audio files to Sloane with a message, emergency. Call me immediately. She called back within 3 minutes. Tell me you didn't break any laws getting this, she said without preamble. I recorded them on my own property, on my own porch, and in my own living room, with my own phones, I said. They entered my house without my explicit permission using a key Dylan refused to return after we separated. I was not present in the house during the recording, so it's single-party consent, and I'm the property owner, which gives me additional recording rights. Good, Sloane said, and I could hear the satisfaction in her voice. This is admissible. This is devastating. This is criminal conspiracy to commit fraud, with documentation of intent to commit forgery and identity theft. What do we do with it? I asked. We have options, Sloane said. We can go to the police right now. File charges. Let the criminal justice system handle it. Or, I prompted. Or we use it as leverage. We continue with the plan, serve the eviction papers at the boutique relaunch, file for divorce with the post-nup enforcement. And when they try to fight back, we play the recording. Give them a choice, settle quietly and face no criminal charges, or fight us and we turn this over to law enforcement. Which do you recommend? I asked. Sloane was quiet for a moment. Then, what do you want, Amber? Do you want them in jail? Or do you want your life back? I thought about my father. About his letter. Trust yourself. You're stronger than you know. I thought about Elodie's advice. Choose your stage. Make it public. Make it undeniable. Make it legal. I want justice, I said. But I don't want to become them. I don't want revenge. I want accountability. Then we use it as leverage, Sloane said. We give them a chance to do the right thing. And if they don't, we bury them. Okay, I said. But there's one more thing I need to do. What's that? Sloane asked. I need to find Leo. That evening, I went to the Meridian, the jazz club Bethany had mentioned in her conversation with Dylan. It was a small, intimate venue with low lighting and tables clustered around a stage. Exposed brick walls. Candles on every table. The kind of place where musicians played for people who actually listened. I called ahead and asked if they had a musician named Leo performing. Leo Martinez, the manager said. Yeah, he plays Monday, Thursday, and Saturday nights. Starts at 9. You coming to see him? Yes, I said. I need to talk to him after his set. I arrived at 8:45 p.m., dressed simply in jeans and a sweater, trying to blend in. I ordered a glass of wine and found a table near the back where I could watch without being obvious. At 9 p.m., Leo walked onto the stage. He was younger than I expected. Maybe 28, with dark curly hair and kind eyes. He carried a guitar and smiled shyly at the scattered applause. "Good evening, everyone," he said softly. "Thanks for being here. I'm Leo, and I'm going to play some original songs tonight. This first one is called Unexpected." He started playing. His voice was gentle, earnest. The song was about falling in love when you least expect it. About finding someone who sees you. About believing in new beginnings. I felt sick. This man had no idea what Bethany was. What she'd done. What she was planning. He played for 45 minutes. Every song was beautiful. Every song was about hope, or love, or the courage to be vulnerable. And I was about to destroy that hope. But he deserved to know the truth. After his set, I approached him at the bar where he was packing up his guitar. "That was beautiful," I said. He smiled, surprised. "Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Can I buy you a drink?" I asked. "I need to talk to you about something important." His smile faltered. "Do I know you?" "No," I said. "But I know Bethany Hart." His face went pale. We sat in a booth in the back corner, away from other patrons who were filtering out after the show. I showed him a photo of Bethany and Dylan together. One I'd found on the burner phone, them in a hotel room, champagne glasses raised, looking at the camera like they owned the world. "How long have you been seeing Bethany?" I asked gently. 6 months, he said, his voice hollow. "She told me she was single. That she'd just gotten out of a bad relationship and was focusing on her business." "She's not single," I said. "That man in the photo is my husband, Dylan. They've been having an affair for almost a year." Leo stared at the photo. His hands were shaking. "She told me she's pregnant," he whispered. 3 months ago. She said it's mine. We've been planning. I've been helping her financially. She said the boutique was struggling. That she needed help with inventory, with expenses." "How much?" I asked quietly, though I already knew. $12,000, Leo said. Everything I'd saved for the past 3 years. I was going to use it to record a professional album. But she said it was an emergency. That she'd pay me back once the boutique stabilized. My heart broke for him. "I overheard her today," I said carefully. "Talking to Dylan. The baby isn't yours, Leo. It's his. And she's been planning all along to let you believe it was yours while she's with him. She called you a nice guy but broke and said she needed someone with actual resources." I watched him process this. Watched his face crumble. Watched the moment his entire world rearranged itself. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked finally, his voice barely above a whisper. "Because you deserve the truth," I said. "And because in 8 days, I'm going to confront her publicly. At her boutique relaunch party. I'm going to serve her with eviction papers for unpaid rent and expose the affair. The press will be there. Our family will be there. Everyone will know. And I wanted you to hear it from me first. I wanted to give you a choice about whether to be there." Leo was quiet for a long time, staring at his hands. Then he looked up at me, his eyes red but determined. "What time?" he asked. 3 p.m. Next Saturday. Her boutique on Market Street. "I'll be there," Leo said. "And I'm filing a police report tomorrow." What she did, taking my money under false pretenses, lying about the paternity, that's fraud. Yes, I agreed. It is. We sat there for a moment, 2 people who'd been collateral damage in Bethany's schemes, finding unexpected solidarity in our shared devastation. "I'm sorry this happened to you," I said. "I'm sorry it happened to both of us," Leo replied. "But thank you for telling me. For giving me the chance to prepare. For treating me like I deserve to know." He paused. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Are you scared?" he asked. "Of doing this publicly? Of everyone knowing?" Terrified, I admitted. "But I'm more scared of staying silent. Of teaching them that there are no consequences. Of letting them do this to someone else." Leo nodded slowly. "Then I'm glad you're doing it. And I'm glad I'll be there to see it." As I left the Meridian that night, I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just about my marriage anymore. This wasn't just about my house or my inheritance. This was about a pattern. A decade-long pattern of Bethany hurting people, taking what she wanted, and facing no consequences. But that was about to change. That night, I sat in my father's study and thought about everything I'd learned in the past week. The affair. The theft from 10 years ago. The unpaid rent. The pregnancy. Leo. The plan to forge my signature. Every revelation had been worse than the last. But I also thought about the tools my father had given me. The trust. The postnuptial agreement. The documentation of Bethany's past crimes. The property ownership. He'd built me a fortress. And now I had the evidence to defend it. In 8 days, Bethany's boutique relaunch would be the social event of the season. Press invited. Family invited. Everyone who mattered in our small city. And I was going to walk in with process servers, legal documents, and a decade of evidence. Dylan thought I was too weak to fight. Bethany thought I'd stay silent to protect the family. They had no idea what was coming. I pulled out my father's letter one more time. Trust yourself. You're stronger than you know. He'd been right. I was stronger than I'd known. But I was also more strategic. More patient. More willing to let them destroy themselves with their own words. Because the best part about their plan to forge my signature? I'd recorded every word. And when they tried to execute it, I'd have evidence of premeditation. Of conspiracy. Of intent. They weren't just planning crimes. They were documenting them. Just like they documented their affair with hotel receipts and Instagram posts. Some people never learn. But I was learning. I was learning that silence protects the people who hurt you. That speaking up protects the people who come after you. And in 8 days, I was going to speak up so loudly that everyone would hear. In 8 days, everything will explode. The boutique relaunch. The process servers. Leo confronting Bethany about the pregnancy and the stolen money. The recording played for everyone to hear. But before that happens, my mother will call. She'll beg me not to do this. She'll defend Bethany one more time. She'll make me choose between justice and family. In episode 5, the final week before the confrontation. The doubt. The pressure. The moment I almost backed down. Thank you for listening to episode 4. The hardest part isn't gathering evidence. It's having the courage to use it. If this episode resonated with you, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe and share it with someone who might need this story. And I have a question that's been on my mind. Should I have told Leo the truth the way I did? Or should I have let him find out with everyone else at the boutique? I think about this a lot. Was I protecting him by giving him advance warning? Or was I being selfish, needing him there as validation? Leave a comment. Tell me honestly what you would have done. Would you have warned him? Or let the confrontation be his first knowledge of the truth? Episode 5, the week before, is available now. My mother calls and begs me not to go through with the public confrontation. The doubt creeps in. The pressure builds. And I have to decide whether I have the courage to follow through. This is building to something massive. And you won't want to miss what happens next. I'll see you in episode 5.